Hello, everybody. Welcome to That Pedal Show. Viewers, comments and questions. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
Hope you're all fabulous. It's been a beautiful day here today. Freezing, but very lovely. I say freezing. It's probably where most of you are. I'm sure it gets much colder. But
Did you look at a radar? Hello, everyone. Did you look at a radar map of the weather?
I didn't. I don't know how to do that.
So from about 10 miles west of Swindon,
Yes.
there was a big weather front.
Right.
So Swindon's been lovely.
Are you serious?
It's been very cloudy here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
it was beautiful this morning in Swindon.
and
Okay.
just about an hour ago it lifted. So we're doing the very British thing, with apologies to the Australian in the room. Talking about the weather, obviously, because...
There you go.
It's an odd harmony, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite hard to...
Well,
they're quite far apart.
They are. It's sort of dirgy Gregorian chant. But they're, man, sibling harmony, family harmony.
Yeah.
You know, when I went and saw the Finns, the family band.
I'm just going to turn the super chats off because we've got loads, okay? So I'm turning the super chats off. If you super chatted to this point, you will be answered. Sorry, Dan.
It's all right, but just hearing the family band and hearing them all harmonised together is like, there's something to it. There is absolutely something to it.
I don't think it's a universal thing.
It's not universal.
You wouldn't want to hear me and my family singing. Sorry, Dad.
You know what? I really would. I would love to. I'd love to hear you and your dad sing. Your dad has a cracking voice.
To be fair, that's all right.
He's got.
All right.
He sounds like.
That side is okay. The other side, not so much.
Yeah. No, but your dad's got a real country, like deep country thing going on.
Well, my dad is Johnny Cash.
But he does sound like Johnny Cash.
No, he is Johnny Cash.
He is. Sorry. Of course.
Hello, Dad. Welcome. If you're new to viewers' comments and questions, sorry. This is kind of what happens. If we're in and out of the main chat, and we'll prioritise the super chats. Thank you to everyone who's super chatted.
That's the most English thing I've ever heard. If you're new, sorry.
I say, hello, sorry.
That's very good.
Hello and sorry. We say thanks to BV for
Thank you, BV.
being in their
so
chat
lovely.
and staying across all of that for us. We're very grateful, BV. Thank you so much. So who's in then? Backer is in. Lords of Form is in. Scott McGill's in. Chris Quinn, hey Chris.
Hey Chris.
Mark Spurgeon, Tim Houston, Plexico, Duncan, good to see you, buddy. David Pekarski, Ian Bogle, Nick Harrington, Rasmus Thrain, Justin Charbonneau.
Justin Charbonneau.
From Minneapolis, Minnesota. We had one of your country folk here, or at least stately folk here last week. Mr. Wonky Core.
Oh yes, the Corey of Wongfordshire.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Wongfordshire. I suppose it would have been that, wouldn't it? If we'd have gone east instead of west. Although, Corey's half Chinese, just in case you didn't know.
Chinese American.
If you go to America, you'll find places called, New Hampshire and New York and New Orleans, i.e. all places in Europe. That
in Australia, you got New South Wales.
Yeah. Now, I dare say if we'd have gone east to China, there was already a load of stuff there, so nothing would have been new.
Right.
But anyway, if they'd have come here, we'd have had... Anyway, no, let's not do that. Chris Costa Bile is on. Alex241. Rosie has entered the chat. What are you doing, Rose?
Coming up.
You going to see Dan?
Hey.
Well, you want to come and see me? Come and see. Actually, we need to discourage her from jumping because
do we?
we think she's a little bit stiff on the hips.
Oh,
so
no.
we'll just discourage that, shall we, Rose?
Okay.
We'll just discourage that. Yeah, I know. We've even bought doggy steps.
Oh, have you? Oh, bless her.
I was in a hotel room in America once, and on comes the adverts between whatever dreadful news I was watching. And the person on the advert said, "Does your little guy have trouble getting onto your bed? Then you need doggy steps. Doggy steps! You need doggy steps. Doggy steps. And I'm like, say what? Nobody gonna give me them doggy steps no more. Is my guitar in the flat?
Oh,
were you
man.
actually in
No,
different?
I'm probably sharp.
You're pretty sharp, Dan.
Yeah.
Anyway, we bought doggy steps. Doggy steps. I thought, what idiot would ever buy doggy steps?
That was pretty funny.
Exhibit
Pretty
A.
funny.
Exhibit A. Michael Giliberto. Hello, Michael.
Do you want your doggy steps?
Oh, these are the doggy steps.
Oh, bless her.
But I think
She jumps over them.
I bought the smallest ones. I bought the smallest ones. We may get some bigger ones.
That's a launching pad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She
right.
just jumps over it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think they look nice next to this Marshall. Okay, we will get to the super chats in a minute. Is everything happening, Dan?
Everything's happening. We're on. Everyone's on.
Cool. Mark Spurgeon says, please tell me you got the 3 new JHS pedals. We didn't.
No.
People have stopped sending us new pedals because we don't get round to them fast enough. So we have to ask for things these days.
Yes.
Which is absolutely the way it should be,
Yeah.
by the way.
Remember, TPS, never knowingly first.
Yeah. Goodness. Okay. Before we get along then, Kevin the Just says, have we changed the lighting? The 335 looks like a different colour these days. It's darkened quite a bit, actually. It was quite dark when I first got it. Some of them are one of the reasons I like it so much is a lot of the custom shop ones are really bleachy,
It has got darker.
white, but
Yeah.
it was darker in the first place, but it has,
it has definitely got darker.
Yeah, so we are running slightly we'll shut the camera down a little bit so that we're not all bleachy white. Nobody wants that. Oh God, what am I doing? Right, housekeeping. Patrons. Congratulations to everyone in January's giveaway. You all have been notified and I think have accepted your gifts.
Yay!
Well done. February's giveaways. Number 1. I want to say big thanks to Christos and everyone at Crazy Tube Circuits. Everyone that works at Crazy Tube Circuits is called Chris. Literally everyone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember we went there one night?
Mrs. Chris?
There was about 4 Chris's.
I do remember that.
So it's not absolutely everyone, but
yeah, but okay.
Anyway.
From now on it is.
Thanks to Christos who's allowing us to give away this space charged valve overdrive pedal, which is really cool.
Really cool thing.
It's in the. I promise you, it's in the box. And just to say about Crazy Tube, they've got the new
Mothership?
no,
No, that's the Carlos.
no tube driver inspired
Yes, that's the thing I was thinking
small pedal coming out, and there's one on the way, and I'm very excited about it.
of. Me too.
So hello to everyone at Crazy Tube Circuits, and thank you very much from Athens in Greece. So that's number 1. Giveaway number 2, as you may be aware, Dan and I now use Stringjoy strings because we like them very much and we have them in the store. And Stringjoy have very kindly sent us some sets to give away. There's 3 different gauges, I think, to give away.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna.
We'll do 3 different. There's heavy, medium, and light. So I think we'll do 3 different giveaways for heavy, medium, and light.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 3 giveaways. There's 4 giveaways this month.
Yes.
Now this is going to get really complex because how the hell do we know whether people want medium, heavy?
We're gonna put on the giveaway. This is for the heavy strings.
Okay.
This is for the medium strings. This is for the light strings.
And they're not that heavy. 10 to 48, 11 to 50, and 9 to 42. We'll make that clear in the giveaway. Massive thank you to Stringjoy.
Yep.
This is for patrons on patreon.com/thatpedalshow, which helps us do what we do. So that's what that's all about.
Yep.
More on Stringjoy to come in coming weeks and months.
But we dig them.
We
Really
dig them
cool.
much. We are going to be putting more experience days live on the store next week. We put them on sale a long time in advance, so if you want to travel from anywhere, would you believe we've had people from as far as...
Oh, everywhere. Australia, New Zealand, America, Japan, Canada, flying all over just to come and say hi. It's
Bristol.
Bristol. People going from Bristol.
Yeah.
Cheers, drive, and all
Cheers,
that
Drive.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
People
actually
from-
get a horse and cart from Bristol as well,
Yeah.
so it is quite
Yeah.
the way.
People coming from Wales, walking in saying, "Whose corks is that jacket?"
How dare you? How very dare you? How very dare you? See those two pedals? Mine's the one in the middle, etc. I don't know. It's all Gavin and Stacey. Don't blame us. I had a great quote, but I can't say it. I did hear a great quote. Maybe I'll say it before the end of the show.
See how we go.
Yeah,
Want a
it's
beer?
about being offended.
You want a beer?
Oh, I can't. You know I can't drink beer. Anyway, make sure you're signed up to our email newsletter stuff, which you'll find on the website at thatpedalshow.com and also thatpedalshowstore.com for more details on all that stuff. So if you want to be in to buy the experience days and a little bit of free advice, if you're signed up to ShopPay on Shopify, that'll enable you to check out really quickly.
Yes.
For
They
those
do.
of you
They do go quick,
who
and
get frustrated.
Yeah, I
if
know.
You can't click
that
buy
will
quick
help.
enough.
That will help.
Yes. Andy Cooper says, you two are in a frisky mood today. I think it's because the winter is almost over.
Is it?
Well, it's cold, but there's light.
Yeah. But a bit of sunshine, man. It makes all the difference in the world.
But I notice it like when I get up to walk the dog, it's not dark. When I get home from work, it's only just dark.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's good.
Oh, yes, the days are getting longer.
The light is good. The light is good. All the way from Brizzle, says Frankie Holt. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Okay. Let us then see what we have in the super chats this week. We hope you all enjoyed the James Dean Bradfield show on Friday.
Yeah, what a treat.
It was a really big deal to be invited over there to the Manic studio and for James to be so welcoming and just tell us all those stories. Because, you know, some of them are 30 years ago, aren't they?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was a trip. And yet another reminder. That doesn't look very good.
Yet another reminder. So, yes. There was... The Manics have... If you've seen them live, you know, man, they're extraordinary. His guitar sounds, you know, so powerful. But it's a... You know, they're very open about the history and, you know, Richie and all that sort of stuff. And they've talked about that a lot in the past. We didn't particularly go into that or, you know, particularly want to go into that stuff. We wanted to talk to James about his guitars and, you know, the really cool things that he does. But yeah, it was really special. Very cool to go down and just hang out for the day. And yeah. And 33 consecutive top 40 hits.
That's pretty mad.
I haven't written 33 songs. You know, it's like...
What's wrong with you, Darren? I wrote 33 before breakfast yesterday.
But it's incredible. You
It's
look
amazing.
at their catalogue and it's like, wow.
Yeah. Bangers.
Really, really
Bangers,
great.
bangers. Sorry, I just disappeared because in a new one, it logged us out during the live stream.
Oh, fantastic.
There must be a setting for that. Anyway, first in this week will be Non-Aligned. Hello, Non-Aligned. Thank
G'day,
you
mate.
for your super chat. And the super chat, very generous super chat. Thank you very much, Non-Aligned. Most people won't modify a vintage instrument irreversibly.
Yes, I get
sensibly
that.
so.
Yeah.
If you could magic wand mod any of yours so that it would stay vintage and yet physically change, what might you change?
What a great question.
I got a live example for mine.
Okay. I have a reoccurring fantasy about having a Strat Trem on a telly. So
That exists.
yeah, but not like an old telly,
Oh, I see.
you know.
Ooh.
Exactly. So that indeed would be magic.
You. You could find a beta, couldn't you? You could find something that's been refinished 20 times and triggers broom necks and all that.
Yeah, but I think what I want to do is get a thin line, big 70s headstock.
Oh yeah,
And
that'd be really cool.
yeah, it would be great. That's
should do
the
that.
dream.
Okay, mine is, I got a problem with this guitar that has always been with this guitar, but it gets worse and better depending on the weather. And it is that the top E falls off the bottom end of the neck. Now that's, if you look at 5 Strats, you'll see the bridge and the neck are all in different places, and that's one of the great things about modern Strats, right? Now, when Matt did the refret, he took the frets out, the fret ends out as far as he dare to stop that to stop that happening. And then Dan actually did what I would normally do, which is just make the string sit on the saddle a bit more up that way. But if I could just fix that, that would be brilliant. But I'm afraid I'm not sure it's fixable. You can do the old, you know.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah. The sound it makes as it cracks into place.
But you kind of just get used to it. And it's one of those things on old instruments that makes them idiosyncratic and makes you play a certain way. But up here, it's quite fally offy. So that's what I would do. I would get that mended. Yeah. Lovely old thing that it is.
Magical bit of tree.
Lovely old thing that it is. Thank you for the question online.
Yes.
I did do another mod this week.
Right. Do tell.
In fact, I did it 5 minutes before you arrived.
Right. Oh, you did the bright cap mod. Good for you. Oh, and what's the verdict?
It's much better.
Oh, well done, mate.
As regular viewers will know, we've had this amp for almost the whole life of the show and moan every single time we plug into it because the bright cap is so horrific. Having heard the 1959 modified Marshall 3 weeks ago, I thought, sod it, I'm just going to do it. Anyway, I was very careful.
Was it on the pot or on the board?
It's on the board.
Right.
And I very carefully opened a web browser, found out which one it was.
Put on all the privacy stuff.
Pulled out the amp and just wiggled it out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because unsoldering it would have been too much hassle, so I just pulled it out.
That's great. Well, it's in parallel, so it won't affect anything.
Well, I knew that. That. It's C5 if you're interested. Anyway, you know, I should have bled the filter caps and done all of those safety things, but I only had 5 minutes, so I just pulled it out. And it sounds much better.
That's fantastic.
It sounds much better. And there's a whole other Marshall journey about to happen for me. So, anyway, sorry. God, I'm flipping out. Look what happens when you ask a question non-aligned. It's so much better.
Awesome. I'm really pleased.
Because I was on some forums, I was reading that people say they just sound too dark when you take it out. I'm like, are you on crack?
Yeah.
It's plenty bright.
Yeah.
Especially when you turn the presence and treble up.
Yeah. Simon VRDJ says, right, that's it. Flaming torches and pitchforks being sent against Dan, wanting to alter a rare tally with a tram. It was in a magical fairyland. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a parallel universe.
Yeah.
Fat old guy at 5,000 meters. I like the meters.
3 miles an hour from the east.
We're in US dollars for the super chat, but you're talking meters. I like that.
It's very good.
Unless you mean the band, the meters.
Yep.
Fat old guy at 5,000 meters. Hello, thank you for your super chat. When I change amp volume, my gain settings on pedals changes radically.
Mm-hmm.
I hit big OD boost at lower volume because, and it becomes useless at higher amp volume. Is this physics or the amp? Will amp choice reduce this effect? Yes, yes, and yes.
Physics is the amp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you change the amp volume, you're changing the gain structure. A good example. If you've got, so the example is on some amps it makes less of a difference. If I've got 100 watt high watt going into a cab with 4 EVs, and I change it from 1.5 to 1 3/4, it's not going to make that much difference. I'm not particularly changing the way that the amp reacts when I'm putting signal into it. However, if I'm at home getting my sounds together and I go to the gig and they've got the drummer there, so I turn up to play against the drummer, radically different. radically different because the amplifier now has a natural is limiting because it's louder. You know, the amplifiers that I use, you know, like between 20 and 30 watts. And so anything that goes into the amp is going to sound radically different. So yeah, absolutely. Gain structure. We've done loads of videos on it, but I think the last one was pretty comprehensive. So if you want to know more about that, go into our content thing and just look for gain structure and we talk about it in depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gain staging 101, isn't it? Absolute basics of gain staging. And it's one of the reasons why Dan and I tend to like using cleaner amps with more headroom, because then you've got all the control of the pedal board.
Exactly.
And all that stuff you were just talking about is actually happening within your pedals. So if you hit one pedal harder with the pedal before it, you get more overdrive. If you gain staging 101.
Yeah.
And the problem comes, as you say, as you turn the amp up and you start to use amp overdrive, everything reacts differently.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful way to do it, but then you're tied to your volume.
Yeah. There's one thing I find, so on our experience days here, when Mick plugs into the 2-Rock, and I think this is the challenge for most amp designers, right? The designing an amplifier that has a clean enough platform that gives you enough headroom, but still sounds great at lower volumes and still has character. If you think, like, you know, the super clean platform is plugging your amp into a mixing desk, you know, where it's just all transients. But great guitar amps don't do that. Great guitar amps have character, and there's a limiting where they round off some of the transients a bit and, you know, all that lovely stuff. But finding one that can do that, maintain its gain characteristics at different volumes, that's the thing. And I think the 2-Rock, the custom reverb signature, does that as good as any amp I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's very good at
It's
that.
very good at that.
It's very good at that. Good. Hope that answers the question. Ziad ZD says, would an EV15 ZLX 15 and deluxe reverb suffice for a duo gig with backing tracks and vocals going through the EV15? Very happy with recently received merch and hope EU shipping will be back soon. Thank you, Ziad. Yeah,
Thanks, mate.
we're almost there. We've almost got it sorted. So we should be shipping to the EU again very soon. Okay, your EV that you're talking about, I'm assuming that's a powered machine. EV15 ZLX. So, for example, we have these. We have these EV things in our studio. Full range jobs. Powered PA cabinet, basically.
Yeah.
And there.
It's basically exactly that thing.
Yeah, if it is this.
What model's that?
They're EKXs. I've got
Okay.
these because they got the wood cabs and I think they sound much better than the plastic cabs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Anyway, they're also loads more expensive, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So if you're talking about an active speaker, yeah, that'll be flipping loads. You'll be plenty loud.
Yeah.
Plenty loud. If it's a passive one, I appreciate this probably isn't what you mean, but we'll do it anyway.
No, it's active.
It is?
It is active.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, lovely.
That'd be really great. Just, it might sound really obvious. Get it up high. Get it up to like face height. The Voices speaker makes a really colossal difference than having it down low, pointing up. So get it at face height so it hits people in the face. And I would also invest in some sort of wetness for your vocal, a reverb pedal of some kind,
Yeah.
because they don't have it built in. So
No, but lots of mixing desks have reverb
yeah.
on the desk. So yeah, good luck with that. I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah. Nice. Robert Jones. Hello, Robert Jones.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
I wonder if you're the Robert Jones I went to school with.
I'm sure he is.
Bobby.
Yeah, can't be that many.
Yeah. I had 3 brothers, Peter, David, and Tim.
And Mr.
How do you remember that?
Peter Jones and me and his brother
Just mad.
Robbie.
Yeah, you make up a song about
Yeah,
it.
there you go.
Um,
What was the other one? Peter, Robbie, and
Tim.
Brother Robbie, you beaten up Tim when we were little, 'cause he used to throw the stones at me. There you go.
Just realised I don't plug the camera in, Dan.
Oh, was the battery getting low?
Well, I don't know about that, but
Battery getting low,
it's just
according
Yeah.
to his sources.
when I was in the SAS, they taught me to notice things like that.
Right. Is this the joke that you want to tell for?
No, we might get there.
All right.
Anyway, Robert Jones. Hi, Robert. He says, "Hi guys, hope you're both good. Hoping to collect a Blues DeVille 410 at the weekend. I've also just joined a Southern Rock tribute act the other week. Exciting times ahead this year."
The Blues DeVilles are flippin' brilliant. They're brilliant amplifiers.
Yeah, they're so for those of you who don't know, Blues Deluxe and Blues DeVille were what preceded the Hot Rod Deluxe and Hot Rod DeVille, but they then reissued them as well, and I'm not sure if they reissued the whole range, but the difference between the 112 40 watt Deluxe and the 60 watt either 212 or 410 DeVille is massive.
Huge.
And they're really, really, it's just hard to think of doing better for the money,
Definitely.
I would say.
Yep, I completely
Really
agree.
great amps. So we hope you enjoy that. The reverbs in them is awesome as
Yep.
well. If it's working. So yeah, nice one. Southern Rock. Cool. You need to go and investigate Greer pedals. He does some good pedals that are
Oh
great
man,
for Southern Rock.
Southland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Swizz872, Swizz872, leg ends. I vaguely remember you mentioning doing a series called The Decades of Tone. Is that still on the cards? I'm going down a 60s rabbit hole and I need you to drag me further.
Yeah. So
Be great, wouldn't it?
yeah, it really would be great. I'm in a 70s rabbit hole at the moment. It's like, oh man, it's so cool. But the 60s thing, you know, the fuzz bursts onto the scene and the tape flanging and tape delays and all this stuff. It's just so cool. It's so cool. I'd love to do it.
Yeah, and you'd almost have to do it kind of 60s part 1, 60s part 2. Because if you think what rock and pop music looked like in 1960 compared to what it looked like in 1969,
Completely.
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
Crazy.
But
Same for the 70s for that matter, and indeed the 80s.
Oh yeah, but you'd take we'd grab a few of our favourite bits of stuff from the 60s, and I think, because otherwise we could do it.
It's vast.
It's so vast.
It is vast. It's a really nice idea.
Yeah.
It's a really, really nice idea. And also try and think about, because, our sort of start point is to plug everything and crank it up, but you wouldn't have been able to do that in the early 60s, or they weren't doing it in the early 60s. They were constrained in a way. Anyway, that's a great idea. Thank you. Rick Appleby. Hello, Rick. Good to hear from you. He says, I'm celebrating first rehearsal with my wet dry rig. An AC10, a Princeton, QMX6, Humdinger, Dane, ODR1, JHS H-Trem, harmonic trem, and a Halo with a new rhythm and blues band. Couldn't have done it without you. Please take one from the chat.
Oh, brilliant.
Hope it's working for you, Rick.
Thanks,
That's
mate.
really cool. It's a different game when you get into that. All of a sudden everything's big and clear and lovely. Nice. Take one from the chat.
There's
all right?
one here from Miles. He says, evening guys, what cab or speakers would bring the best out of my Marshall SC20 combo? The bog standard 10-inch Celestion V-type, although worn in, just doesn't quite kick it. Using it in a home studio. Marshall SC20 combo.
Yeah, it's the studio.
Crintage.
Uh,
Crodden.
Studio Classic, which I guess is the 800 one, is it?
SC20.
Studio Classic.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the 800 based one.
Right. So
You're right. A 1x10 small box.
no.
Good for certain things. Not really anything to do with what a Marshall sounds like, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Look, if you want a single 1x12, a greenback, just get a greenback. Stick some drum and bass into it for a few hours, loud, loosen it up, and then just enjoy the way Marshalls are meant to sound.
But also, it depends if you are into the heavier side of things. So I would agree with Dan for sort of vintagey Marshall sounds, but given that you've gone for the 800 type one, if you're into more, let's say, I don't know, the heavier end, whether it's, I mean, I don't want to go all the way to Slayer, but if it's like Zakk Wylde or, you know, the sort of heavier rock, then you might be better off with a V30, a vintage 30 type.
That's a great shout, actually.
The only downside of one of the downsides of the V30, if you can even find one, sorry, of course you can find a new one. Let me rewind. When Marshall did the Silver Jubilee amp, that was during the JCM 800 era. And obviously, as Marshalls had developed from the 60s through the 70s into the 80s, the speakers got more powerful. They just did. So I think in the JCM 800 cabs of the time, they would have been those 75 watt, whatever the 75 watt Celestion was. I'm pretty sure in saying that for the Silver Jubilees, they were the early V30 types.
Right.
Which were 70 watts. So vintage 30 as we know it now, I think is 60 watts, but there's a lineage there, and that's what was in those earlier cabs. You can pick those up in 212s for quite sensible money because not everyone loves them. But they're a little bit softer sounding than the modern V30, which can be quite harsh. Not the same thing, not saying it's the same thing, but it was the early Celestion vintage, which kind of morphed into the vintage 30.
Yeah.
So that could be a good shout. I would say the G12H anniversary is going to be too bright for you. It's too bright for a lot of people.
Yeah, possibly.
Because you want, if
it's
you're
a
playing
Marshall
at home,
thing.
you want a speaker that's just given up a bit.
Yeah,
which
for
is
sure.
why the greenback thing is a really good idea to circle right back.
Yeah.
Low volume greenback. If you play a little bit higher, have a look. See if you can find one of those old, I can't even remember what they're called, Celestion Vintage, I think they were called.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got basically had a new greenback in my my Grossman cab, which I've done the whole EP with, except for a couple of things with the blue, but was able to turn that up in the Grossman cab and really get it working at home. Sounds fantastic. But it's a speaker that a couple of hours playing and it just opens up and then sounds wonderful from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rabbit hole though. You'll notice in the comments, loads of people are coming through with their own speaker suggestions. Dare I say, make a choice quickly. Spend time with mics and positioning.
Yeah.
Because then you can bend it kind of how you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it's such a rabbit hole, speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we are gonna do a show on a speaker thing over the next day or two, which would be really fun.
Yeah, not looking at different speaker
No,
types,
no,
by the way.
no.
It's just it's too mad. You know, you talk to a engineer and they'll get a 412 in and they'll listen to each of the four speakers in that 412, which will be the same speaker, and one of them will sound palpably better than the other three.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a crapshoot, I'm afraid. Thomas Eichinger. Hi, Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
He says, hey, D&M, I tried a blues breaker and a tube screamer in the deluxe reverb. as gain stages. Hot Cake and Rat in the AC15. Chorus and Delay in the Deluxe Reverb. Flanger in the Vox. I'm still speechless. Do I need a psychiatrist?
No. You need a medal, the T-shirt that just says legend.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
And you need to go and put the word in the streets. Go to your nearest shopping precinct.
Yep.
Find a box, stand on it, and tell people what you've discovered. He said, I have seen the ways of wet dry, and it is good. And ye shall be saved
Nice.
by turning up loud and playing your rig wet dry. And lo, Thomas went into the streets and spread the word greatly. And all those who saw him.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Nice one, mate. That's good. Michael Giliberto. Hi, Michael. He
Sorry, I
says,
just want to say, Dr. Z is in the chat.
no way.
G'day, Dr. Z.
Hey.
Hope you're awesome, mate.
Amazing.
Amazing. So good.
Mike. Are you Michael or Mike? Sorry, we don't know that.
Who's Dr. Z? He's the doctor. Doctor's in the house. Doctor.
Please, don't you know I'm running fast? You had no idea about UFO,
I was going
did
to go, Doctor, give me the news.
Bad case of love.
Bad case of Celestian blues.
Is that a synthesizer solo on that? Obviously, that was a note perfect rendition of it.
Okay.
Anyway, Michael Giliberto. Hi, Michael.
G'day,
He says,
mate.
I got a rig set up at gig volume at home. Yes. At the gig, we need to adjust the reverb and delay fix with level mix. Start at the amp for other fixes so as not to alter other structure and options. Question mark. Thanks for everything. Yeah, so Michael's kind of, I think, expressing the oft felt frustration, which is you get all your stuff set up perfectly and then you get to a different volume environment and all of a sudden it is all different. And it is frustrating, but I think you've hit the nail on the head with the mix bit for your wet effects, because the louder you get, the more prominent they often seem, so you can just knock it back. I'm always amazed that on the vast majority of my reverbs and delays, the mix is 7:30.
Oh, okay.
Really tight, really down there.
Right.
Because you're slamming them so hard with overdrives and stuff.
Yeah.
They tend to get very excitable.
Yeah.
So I think that's right. And then, yeah, gain staging is tough because wherever you wherever you change it has a really massive effect downstream.
Indeed.
So I think it's a good case for simplifying. If you are having those kind of problems, a simplification of the gain staging can help a bit. But
Dr. Z says Mike works.
Mike, thank you,
there
Mike.
we go.
Wow. Thanks for being here, man.
Awesome.
That's a big deal.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I hope that helps, Michael. I mean, you sort of suggested in your question what to do. So where it comes to, let's say you've got you say start at the amp for other fixes so as not to alter the gain structure. It all depends on what your amp's doing. If your amp's relatively clean, then yeah, that's a really good idea because then the amp's just getting louder or quieter. If your amp is overdriving, I would say you're better off adjusting at the pedals.
Yes, completely.
Because...
Well, again, gain structure. If your amp is overdriving, you turn up the amplifier, you're just getting more compression and limiting. But if you've got the amp to a point where you like it, and it's overdriving, when you turn the mix up, it's going to have so much more effect because think of the front end of the amplifier like a massive compressor. Everything is squashing, as will the reverb. So you'll find you need a lot less of it. Yeah. There.
Nice. The Weekend Warrior says, Mick, tell us more about that dual Largo pedal from Mythos. It's very simple. It's a boost and then it's an octafuzz. And you can just have the boost on its own. But the boost is the octafuzz without the octafuzz. And it sounds amazing. It'll be coming out in a few weeks. We're going to get them soon. It's a really, really simple idea, and it works great. So thank you for that.
Well, Glenn G says, any chance of getting Nels Klein as a guest on TPS? We would absolutely
Red carpet.
love to have Nels on. What inspirational, genius, super creative, one like tones, yes. So the answer is yes.
Yes, if we can
We can tee it up at all.
find a way to him. The other person I'm trying to get to is Keith Scott.
Dude,
Brian
did
is
I
over.
Not, did I not? Okay, so yes,
Are we partially in?
yes, we're in.
Cool. I did ask.
Well, you know who's playing with Brian at the moment?
Jack Duxbury.
Jack Duxbury is playing keys for Brian at the moment. He's in Australia.
You're shitting me.
No, got my sister tickets to go and see him, and they hung out. And I'm like, and I also got an email from Marcus. Marcus.
Aurelius.
No,
Slayer of guitars.
no. Neil Finn's tech,
Right. Oh yes.
who is teching for Keith. And
No
he said,
way.
he says, I hear you guys are fans of Keith Scott. And I went, yes. And he goes, I said, we'd love to have him on the show. You guys go working on it.
I wonder if that. So I reached out to the. Oh god, my brain doesn't normally do this. To Sean, who was teching for Joey, who's Ginny Vaughan's
Contagious,
tech.
I'm telling you.
And I asked him to reach out to Brian's people. So I wonder if that's how it got to Marcus.
Awesome.
For those of you who don't know, Keith Scott plays guitar for Bryan Adams and has done forever. Plays
Since
guitar. on
1971.
Reckless, obviously, which I still
78.
hold up there as some of my favourite guitar tones
Just
of
magical.
all time ever. And it would be flipping great to have him on the show
Yeah.
if he'd be up for it.
Yep.
Anyway, Brad Schultz.
Brad Schultz?
Yeah,
Yep.
not Schutz. Brad Schultz. Sorry, Brad. It's the age. In a wet-dry rig, if a wet effect flips the phase, can that be fixed by setting the effect to kill dry? Cheers from Orlando.
No. So let me put this another way.
Well, it can, but you lose
It
half
can,
the
but
sound.
you lose half the signals, and then you're in. Okay, the issue with a wet effect that flips the phase is that when you turn it off, if it's true bypass, when you turn it off, it flips the phase back. When you turn it on, it flips the phase and both your rigs are out. What happens if you kill dry and you only have the wet effect? Any signal going into it will then only be wet. So if you turn it off, you get your guitar to both sides. When you turn it on, it's only wet. You've only got your dry signal and then wet effects, just wet effects in one amplifier. Unfortunately, what you have to do is put that effect in a loop of something, and then after send goes into the pedal, the output of that pedal goes into something else that flips the phase back into that loop, and you turn it on within that loop. It's if you're doing it without a switcher that you can change phase, that's the easiest way to do it.
It's a real pain, isn't it?
It's a pain.
I got rid of pedals because they did it.
Yeah.
And it was just too much hassle. Dr. Z's got a new release
Oh,
today.
I know. Dr. Z, bless him, emailed and sent me a link to it. It does sound flippin' glorious.
What is it? What's the new thing?
It's basically the 40-watt version of my Z80.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Z40.
the Z40.
A 40-watt British powerhouse. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, okay. Hope that helps, Brad. You need to flip it if you want to maintain your dry signal. Yeah. Pedals that do it that I know of. Most of the Echo Rec type delays.
Yep.
I don't know about the Catlin Bread, if the Catlin Bread does. But the Boonar certainly does.
Yeah.
And also, annoyingly,
MXR phases do it.
the Belle Epoque Deluxe, which is
Yeah.
one of my favourite delay pedals, but you have to flip the phase. And people think if you put it in trails or true bypass modes, that changes it. It doesn't. So
Yeah.
yeah. So you leave it on. So what you can do, if it's a delay pedal, here's another thing you can do. If it's a delay pedal, is it a wet effect? Okay. If it's a delay or a reverb that has the possibility for expression control via a TRS jack, such as the Bell Epoch Deluxe or indeed many other modern reverbs and delays, what you can do is leave it on all the time. So it's constantly on. And in the Bell Epoch Deluxe, that's a really nice thing to do because it has that lovely buffery preamp thing. And then use an expression pedal to feed in the wet effect. That's two benefits. One, it's never out of phase. Two, you've always got control of your wet level on the fly. And that's a really cool way to do it. That's the way Andy Timmons does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it's something like a rotary speaker or something that doesn't offer you that, then it's more of a pain.
It's tricky.
J2072.
Nice.
Yo, Spats. The band I play in, Tin Town, released our second album, Days Without Love, on Valentine's Day.
Nice.
So when can we expect yours? And what's the release day celebration drink? Keep up the great work.
Oh, bless you. So mine is being mixed from Paul at the moment. The 2 of the 4 tracks are mixed. I'm waiting for the last 2 to be done. The artwork is done. Everything's done. I mean, I know I've been saying it's imminent for 5 years, but it is actually done. You know, this stupid thing about this, and I'm going to do a vlog on this. Do you know how long it took me to write the material for that?
5 minutes.
It took 5 days.
Bloody sounds like it.
It was...
Come on, mate. You set them up. I'll knock them down.
All right, great. But it was done in less than a week.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then...
Yeah.
And then just all the other mucky muck around it.
Then crap
And
ensues.
it's like, nah, I can't. You know what stuns me is you go into a record store and just see the amount of music. I'm like, I'm just stunned. There's so much music out there.
You should do what Corey Wong does. Record it in January, mix it on the bus in February, and have it out next week.
Yeah.
Show with Corey Wong coming
He
up
is
soon, by the
a
way.
machine. He's like,
So,
it's that thing, right? He just works so hard, but because he loves it, he just, gets it done. But yeah,
what's your celebration drink then
my celebration drink.
for the release?
Oh, great one. It will be a G&T that you make
Okay.
with your orange peel and black pepper corn, all that stuff.
Ginger.
Mick makes the best G&T I've ever had.
There's a really nice Japanese gin. If you have ginger, peppercorns, and a little bit of orange with it, it's very, very nice.
Yep.
Okay, so I am making a record this year.
Yes, you are.
True story. And I know that I didn't know if I was going to be or not, but I've heard today that I am going to be. And it's going to be done in exactly the opposite way to Dan's. It's going to be done in a room with musicians.
With people.
And it will be a relatively fast turnaround.
That's awesome.
So, and I think, judging on our conversation that we half had today and are going to finish tomorrow, it will be done by the end of the year. Maybe even before that. So,
I cannot wait to hear it.
nor me, mate,
It's awesome.
because I haven't finished writing it yet.
Okay. What will be your celebration drink? Cup of tea and a nice lie down?
Yeah, no, I think it'll be, what'll it be? Well, it's got to be something fizzy for a celebration drink. I'm quite partial
that's
to the,
nice.
there's a winery near us called Langham Wines, and they make English sparkling wine, which I appreciate. To a lot of people sounds like a paradox, but it's really good. It's really, really good. The climate has changed here to the point where French champagne houses are buying land in the south of England.
You're kidding me.
Because the climate is now more suitable
Then somewhere as
and is going to be in 10 to 20 years.
That is fascinating.
Anyway, there's a lovely place in Dorset called Langham Wines, and I think I shall have a bottle of their Blanc de Blanc or their single grape Pinot
That's awesome.
bubbly. It's
Awesome.
very good. It's very, very good. Alex241. I find myself playing in the key of E the majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Is this odd or somewhat common? Do either of you have a favourite key? I definitely do.
Oh, man.
I've got two, actually. Okay, Alex, why is it common, Dan?
Well, you can just go, as long as you don't hit the A, you're fine.
And what's the first chord most people learn?
Oh, E minor 7? That?
E, yeah, or it's some form of E, isn't it?
Yeah.
E major, even.
Then they go,
Yeah.
and then... yeah, but why E is really cool is because all of the... You get to ring on all the open strings. So that's cool. I can't help A, like every other guitar player in the world, because you get the fifth in the bottom. I love that. But I also love B flat.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my songs I listen to with horns and keys, a lot of those are in B flat. It's just because it just sounds a little bit nice.
Yeah, why do horn players like flat keys? I've never actually understood that.
Because it's less. It's there's a fingering thing for them that makes it a bit easier.
Are you in tune?
No idea.
I think I am.
No, hang on.
Maybe not quite. Anyway, it doesn't matter. My favourite keys are...
Sharp.
My favourite keys are G, because you've got all this. Because you've got all that Grissom stuff.
How do you play that Grissom thing?
Sorry.
The How do you play the Grissom thing? That he plays on. What's that song? That's it.
So you've got all of that. Plus, register-wise, you've got low stuff. You've got the open G. You've also got... You've got your majors there in the middle of the neck. I mean, I know you've got everything everywhere, but in the shapes that I like to play in.
Mm. And you go up the octave and it's not too high. Everything's still
Exactly.
accessible.
And
Yeah,
if
that's
I want
nice.
to get
I
up
like
here,
that. Yeah.
I don't want to go any higher than that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go that high, but so I like G. I like C sharp because
Yeah.
you've got the open string resonantly atonal Landau thing. I like
Sorry.
it.
That's great.
I like it. Well, we're never going to get all the questions answered
Sorry.
tonight. Anyway, yeah. So Dan likes A. I like G and C sharp. But, you know, other keys are available. I do like B flat. I like the something about the
Yeah,
register of B
yeah,
flat.
yeah, me too.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex, for that question. Chris Costabile. Hey, Chris, how are you, buddy? He says, debate.
The fish.
The line.
Use a debate to catch the fish.
Where are the Andes? On the Andy Aristes. Come on, you know that.
I don't know that. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Chris Costabile, debate. You have two friends. Well, yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? You have two friends who make their living as musicians. One strictly does live gigs. The other strictly studio and recording. All else being equal, who has the more difficult life?
Oh,
No contest for me.
yeah. Well, the touring
Yeah.
dude,
The
is
live
good.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're saying they both earn the same amount of money,
Yeah.
so all that being difficult, who has? Yeah.
Let's weigh it up then. So, advantages to being out playing gigs. It's sociable. You don't become a recluse. You get the life-affirming good things that come with hanging out with other human beings. You get to do something social and a great release and all of that. There's probably a linearity and regularity to it where you wake up in the morning, you get on the bus, you go somewhere, you do sound check, you sit in the lobby, you do the gig and then repeat. So it's, whereas the life of a studio musician, somewhat more solitary in many cases. You have to work when you feel creative, although we do know people who are very good at managing that and work very effectively and efficiently. So maybe you miss some of that goodness of other humans. It's not good to spend too much time on your own,
No.
I wouldn't say. But then the downside of touring, oh God, unless you are in the A band,
Yeah.
and that means like Clapton level.
Yep. Champagne taste, champagne budget.
Oh, yeah, I just mean like decent hotels.
Yeah. Of course.
Good hotel,
Yeah.
nice travel arrangements.
Good, decent food.
Oh, I'm going to say it. Being able to take some amps on the road,
Yep. Oh, that's an absolute.
not having to compromise on your rig because that's what it requires. Yeah, I would definitely say the touring guy has it harder. It might be more fun in part, but we do know lots of people who've spent their life touring and are kind of broken by it
Yeah.
and over it.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Great
I mean,
question, Chris.
It's a great question. I did 4 or 5 nights a week for a long time. And for a couple of years there I was doing 2 gigs on a Sunday. It's okay when you've got a very understanding partner. As soon as you have kids, it's over. If you want to have any sort of relationship or family life, you need to reframe the whole thing.
Family, yeah.
Yeah. Bonnie Raitt talks about it a lot, as does Fleetwood Mac. What's her name?
Stevie Nicks?
Stevie Nicks. That was part of the deal. That they don't have families.
Right.
That was what they had to give up to do
Yeah.
that life, and they don't regret it. But that's the price to pay.
Yeah. And it depends what level you're at, depends what stage of your career you are at. James Dean Bradfield remarked in the interview that these days, they're in the 50s. They tour at weekends.
Brilliant. Yeah.
It's civilized.
And you get to I remember Midnight Oil will take their family with them. Neil Finn takes the whole family with them. So when you get to that stage, you do a tour around the summer holidays.
Yeah.
Awesome.
McCartney was like that. A friend Robbie McIntosh used to play with McCartney years ago, and it was very, from what I can gather, was very civilized and stuff like good food. But as rewind to the top of the chat, that's the A list.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think for most other people, even people you might think are up there, I think the conditions aren't fantastic. But, you know, this is two men in their 50s talking about this. If you're 20, you don't give a shit about that stuff.
No, that's what I'm saying. It depends on the stage of life you're at.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but there does come. I remember the gig. It was the day of was when they did the reunion for the We Are the World concert when Pink Floyd got back together to play a couple of songs. I was playing at one of the holiday camps, and I got a phone call from Teen, because what happened was I became a dad, freaked out about money. It's like, okay, and I just booked every gig I could possibly get my hands on because I thought I need to get money in, you know. And then I'm at this gig, set up, waiting to go on. Pink Floyd are playing, phone rings, and Teen says, can't do this. This something needs to change because it's too much.
Yeah, yeah.
And it did. But, you know, up until that point, and don't get me wrong, I love playing live. It is so much fun. And doesn't mean you stop playing live, but you reframe it. You have to readdress your relationship with it if what you want is a family life as well. I think Joey Landreth has a perfect balance.
Well, interestingly enough, Ed Airfire, hello Ed. Ed says, would be interested to hear Joey's perspective on it.
Yeah.
And we know from talking to Joey that he sort of sees them as yin and yang, really. You have to have one to have the other, and doing just one wouldn't work, and doing the other wouldn't work.
Because he is an artist, and he, you know, playing live is not only his bread and butter, but it's a massive source of inspiration. And, you know, who doesn't want to go and see Joey Landreth play live?
Tie-Dye Steve says, I was 26 when my son was born. I was 27 when I played my last gig.
There you go.
There you go. Maybe not your last ever, eh?
Yeah, I'm not saying when you have kids you have to stop playing. You just need to readdress your relationship with it, because balance is important. You know, if you know, my wife is awesome, and I wanted her to remain as my wife. So it's like, okay, let's redress this balance, because gig income for me was always important. I couldn't just stop, but I had to find a way to make sure I was able to help out at home and just do the nights were okay for her. You know, man, being, you know, having a baby and then being on your own all the time is brutal, absolutely brutal. So there you go.
Even though lots of people do it, eh?
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. That was a really great question.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Squeery719 says, hey guys, wondering for a long time, do you hear hey hey mama whenever Rosie enters the room? Please give her a nice long belly rub from me. Is that a lyric reference?
Hey hey mama, I'm into Zeppelin. Hey hey mama, said the way you move. Oh, Black Dog.
Is that what it is?
That's it.
There you
That's
go.
it.
There you go. Thank you, Skewer719.
Very good.
Yes, we will give her a lovely long belly rub from you. Raf Freitas says, great talk with JDB, hilarious and informative.
Thank you, mate.
Sadly, I did not know much about the Manics, but I'm certainly making up for lost time now, thanks TPS. Thank you, Raf. Yeah, as usual, obviously because the internet is a international place, a lot of that pedal show audience is in America. Thank you. We wouldn't exist without you. Thank you so much. I mean that sincerely, by the way. If it that came across in any way non-sincere, we'd be dead without the support we get from the US. Thank you.
Yep.
Manics didn't really hit the US, did they?
No.
Kind of like Oasis, but to a lesser level. Oasis didn't hit US like they did here.
Yeah.
But the Manics, I think, even less so in the US, and I guess that would be for a variety of reasons. But what's nice when you feature an artist like that is, you know, even all these years later, as people can go back and have a listen. Almost the same as when we feature people that you no one's ever heard of, really, comparatively speaking. And so, there was quite a lot of feedback like that, saying, never heard of him, mate.
Yeah.
Which is so... It reminds you how culturally closed we are, because they were flipping colossal here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You couldn't. I mean, you know, in the mid '90s, if you listened to a commercial radio station, they'd have been on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every gig I did in Wales, I was asked for 2 bands. Stereophonics and Manics. And I didn't even do the accent to show how serious I was. Do the accent.
It's amazing how much it changes, actually. Like if you bottom left, that accent compared to top right.
Oh, dude, it changes 10 minutes from my house.
Much closer to, much harder in the north, you know, and elements of...
You're getting into Scotland.
Yeah, they'd almost be half Scousers in some parts of it. Not quite, but... Yeah, not Scotland. It doesn't go that far up.
No.
Anyway.
Boston Terry says, Oasis didn't hit here until What's the Story, then they got huge. Yeah. Yeah.
Simon V. RDJ. Hello, Simon.
G'day, mate.
He says, hi, DNM. Imagine you can time travel.
Imagining.
With knowledge you have from now, would you invest in a certain company or buy a load of gear that you knew would be able to bring that's rare? From which years?
Yeah, no, I would just buy Apple shares and then buy all the gear in the world I want.
Yeah. The answers are all there, aren't they? Because we know. We know.
Oh, no, you'd buy crypto. You'd buy crypto when they were $1 a coin.
Which one, though?
Fart coin, obviously. Whichever one, I don't know. What's it called? The Bitcoin thing? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm tempted to go off on a philosophical tangent, but I'm not going to.
Good man. Not that you'd be welcome to. But
No,
I've got a lot to get through.
It's to do with how hollow your life would be.
I completely get that. You know, without the struggle.
Well, not without the struggle, because the struggles change. But no, it's too trite to say it.
Okay.
Because, you know, Dan and I enjoy our relatively comfortable lives where we don't have to worry about too much. And that's not to say we're wealthy, but we don't have the basic challenge of getting a roof over our head every day or finding food to eat. That's not a problem that either of us have.
Well, I've got teenagers, so finding food to eat in the house can sometimes be an issue, but that's one of us. Yeah.
So I don't want to suggest that, you know, that we have to struggle at all, but the daily thing of living and overcoming whatever's in front of you is the reason to be alive.
Yeah.
Because if you
definitely.
take all that away,
Yeah.
there is no... But I suppose having a few 100 million in the bank wouldn't hurt. Yeah, all the rich people I know have got loads of problems.
Yeah.
They and I appreciate that's a massive generalisation, but their lives are so complex and so problematic in ways that mine isn't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yes.
Anyway, sorry, I said I wouldn't get philosophical and too late. Failing that, Simon, I would, of course, buy a whole bunch of 60s and 50s Fenders and Gibsons. That's exactly what I would do, but not to sell, to have.
Yeah.
And maybe a Dumble or 3. But I don't think there's ever been a point in history where Dumbles were cheap.
No.
Not especially if you had to wait for it for 4 years.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Yeah, Fenders and Gibsons from the 50s and 60s, definitely, but not to sell, to have. Like a modern day Bonamassa. Sorry, like it. What? Looking forward to seeing you, Simon. Barry Thomas. Hello, Barry.
Hey, Barry.
Good to hear from you. He says, I did my first band gig in a long while a few days back. Can I recommend a book? The Sound Reinforcement Handbook by Yamaha. It covers most everything about operating a PA. Thanks for everything.
Nice.
Nice one, Barry.
Yeah.
The Sound Reinforcement Handbook by Yamaha. Didn't even know it existed.
No.
Dylan Thomas is on. Wow.
Nice.
From the past.
Poet. From the past.
From before the dawn of history.
Yeah.
You know the trouble with the past, Dan? just one damn thing after another.
Just one thing. Okay, very good.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that? It's either Shakespeare or Stephen Hawking. What? How can we get the two confused? Is what you're saying? Dylan Thomas.
Juliet. For out though, Juliet.
Oh yeah, Dan's just done a Stephen Hawking impression. Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. My favourite Stephen Hawking quote is the endlessly philosophical question. And I apologise if I haven't got the exact words, but this is the basis of it. Why does the universe go to all the trouble of existing?
Yeah, that's nice. Have you read his book?
No.
I sat down and said, right, I'm going to read a brief history of time.
Yeah.
And I got 4 pages in, and I'm like, my brain just is not up for this.
Oh, I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah, give it. I'm sure you crack it, but it's like.
Does it get physicky?
Yeah.
Okay, that bit I wouldn't be able to get.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It got physical. Like in the first 4 pages, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's it's a novel written by Stephen Hawking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
no,
it's
of course.
it's a lot.
Does it get physicky? He said.
Because he says, here comes the physicky bit.
Okay. Yeah. Dylan Thomas says, I wish I had a Dylan Thomas quote, but I'm afraid I just don't. Do you?
Dylan Thomas.
Yeah. The times they are changing. Not that, Dylan.
Not the
God.
Thomas the Tank Engine. No.
Yeah, can't say it. Yeah, anyway, whatever. Sorry.
Rage Against the Dying of the Lights. Thank you, Simon V. IDJ.
Good. Tom Bukovac recently said he accidentally left his Deluxe on for 3 days, but wasn't worried because old gear was designed to handle it. What say ye?
Absolutely. If you've got old valves and old gear, you leave it on, and it's fine.
No new modern gear would stay on for 3 days, would it? Because it has to turn off. I think I'm right in saying. Doesn't all modern gear have to have a standby off? A time-related standby off?
Oh, I don't, that's new to me.
Is it?
A time-related standby off. So
Maybe not guitar amps. I remember when they were trying to make it happen, and a load of guitar amp companies were going, "We can't do that."
no, imagine being in the middle of a gig and your amp turns off.
Well, it'd be being used.
Yeah, but how would it know?
It's clever.
It's a valve amp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most modern electronics has to turn off after a while. Has to have an auto standby mode, doesn't it? Anyway, do we
If it's not
agree?
being used, okay.
Do we agree? Yeah, I mean, don't know. I wouldn't want to leave it on for fire risk.
No, it's not. Yeah, you don't do it on purpose. But Colossus was left on for years.
Because it took too long to start up.
Well, it's the wear and tear on the valves is in that process as much as anything.
Right.
Leave it on. But yeah.
We have the same thing with Catherine's iMac at the end of the day's work. Should we turn it off? No, leave it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I love the figures on that. Didn't it have something like 56 kilobytes of memory or something?
Yeah.
Dumb like that.
40 Watt Podcast says, I accidentally left my amp on when I went to NAMM this year. 6 days. I used it at a gig over the weekend and play it every day. No issues whatsoever.
Yeah,
There you go.
great.
Beautiful.
Great. Old PA amps were designed for constant operation, says David Rustad. Never intended to be turned off. Yeah, I know people who won't turn stuff off in their studios because they don't want to wait for it to do all of that. Hi-fi amps, same thing. I don't. If I'm at home, I like to keep my hi-fi amp on. But yeah. Alex241 says computers as well. I never turn mine off. I religiously turn mine off.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if that's
Just in case it tries to update.
good thing or not.
Stop it.
Yeah, you stop that. Working musicians. Working musicians. I wonder what one of those is. Says, which OD or distortion pedals mix dry signal with affected?
Sorry, say that again.
Which overdrive and distortion pedals mix dry signal with affected? Well, any that have a mix knob. So, for example, the Halcyon Gold, is it? Or whatever, one of the Origin has a dry blend.
Yeah, but it's a specific, it's not the full frequency dry blend, is it? It's a specific thing. Like you get in, imagine your tube screamer, which only distorts a certain amount of...
No, I think it's a full dry. Same as the Voodoo Lab Sparkle Drive, is it? Has a dry mix.
Okay.
There's a few that do it. I'm sure we've had a few on more recently that do it.
Right.
I mean, I think I'm right with that, Dan. I could be wrong. Blend. Something else. Something we had on the show really recently had it,
Right.
and it's now doing my head in because I can't remember what it was. What Dan's referring to is some pedals distort different parts of the frequency spectrum differently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Such as...
Well, the tube screamer, if you look at the way the feedback loop and the op amp and the way that the RC network is in that means that the distortion isn't applied to the low, like really, really low end frequencies, and it keeps those intact, which is a cool way to do it, because the further you move your distortion down frequency wise, you get into fuzz.
That just blends the octave in, does it?
Yes.
Not the fuzz?
Not the fuzz.
That's the Keeley Octa Psi.
Wicked thing.
Yeah, there's a few. It's a weird thing. I never like it.
No, me either.
I almost never like it, but we did have something on the show recently where we liked it, and I wish I could remember what it was.
I think if done properly, I'd never like it if you're blending between a fully clean tone and a distortion, but I love it if you're blending between a compressor or an overdrive and a distortion.
Yeah.
I love that. That's wicked.
Shout out to the Empress.
Multi-drive.
Yeah.
Yep. Incredible.
3 parallel, or at least 2 parallel. I think it's 3.
3.
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
A distortion, overdrive, and fuzz.
Yeah.
And you blend them all and...
Or boost. Is it fuzz or is it...
Fuzz. I'm pretty sure it's fuzz.
Yeah, it's really, really great. But
You know they're having a party.
Are they? Nice.
They have said, would you like to come to a party?
Oh.
Because it's their... Yeah.
Forgive my ignorance. Are they Canadian?
I believe so. Yes, because it's Empress's 20th year anniversary.
Oh, that is good.
Yes, and they're in Canada. They've said, would you like to come to a party?
Let's go. Where are they? Ontario.
Canada. Swing better. Be great. Go and see Joey. Go and hang.
Yeah, well... It's flat there.
Yeah. But that's a really great thing.
So sorry we can't come up with a list, working musicians, but we did mention some of them there. I would imagine Google would be your friend if you wanted to have a look. Some people, there you go. Right in 2 says the Jam Pedals Lucy Dreamer does. Yes, it does. Thank you. Bill Green says the gain knob on a Klon Centaur is a mix knob. Yes, it is. Kinda.
Sorta. Yeah.
Benjamin Rexer says, Mick, tell us what you love about your TS1. 2-Rock TS1. What do I love about it? It's one of the few amps where I like the clean channel and the dirty channel.
Yeah, me too.
I really love the effects loop. It's a really incredibly good effects loop. And if you can turn it up it's just the best I've ever heard it sound was John Cordy playing it. And I was doing a gig with Jake Loosemore, and John got up to play a few songs, and he used the TS1. And it's like, that's the sound. That is that sound.
Yep.
And he was playing all his lovely, tricky business.
Yep.
And it just sounded flipping amazing. I think
That'd be a great name for his band, John Cordy and the Tricky Business.
John Cordy's Tricky Business. I would prefer. I think I hate to say it. I would prefer it if it was a head and cab.
Yeah.
There's just something about the 112 format that I love less than the 212 cab, but it is very convenient, and it does sound bigger than a small 112. But yeah, there you go. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Things I don't love about it: have to use delay and reverb in the loop, and I just hate doing it. So I don't do it.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much mucky muck.
Yes.
I want amp, pedal board, cables.
Yep.
And if I've got to have more cables, more power supplies, I can't do it. Too much hassle. So that's what I don't like about it. Way huge pork loin, says Paul Telfer.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Apparently has a blend.
Beatronics Royal Jelly says iodine 74.
There's one of those up there somewhere. Dwayne Jessam says Ottawa is a long way from Joey and Winnipeg, gents.
Oh, okay.
We'll get a cab.
Yep. They have Uber, Lyft.
Yes. Benjamin Koskinen says, regarding your responses to many asking for more pedal demo videos, how did the ones you did pan out? Good viewing and engagement. Yeah, they were good numbers actually.
The overdrive ones.
Well, where we did the six,
six,
5 and 6 pedals.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were okay. They were much better than pedal jams or whatever else we did in that format. So they were okay.
Yeah.
Didn't set the world on fire, but then who wants to be doing that?
No.
Yeah, so we will do more if that's the rest of the question, Benjamin. Yeah. And they're good fun for me and Dan as well, because they're just a bit of a wig out, and that's good every now and again, just to plug in and have at it.
Yep.
Carl Longbottom. How are you, Carl?
G'day, mate.
Do you see you in Birmingham?
Yes. We will be at the Birmingham Guitar Show.
We will
Not
be
this
at the
weekend,
Birmingham
but the
Guitar
following
Show.
weekend.
Sunday, the 2nd of March. Dan
Jamming over C sharp.
and maybe G. And B flat.
Check that.
Oh, that's nice.
I thought you like that.
Yes, Birmingham Guitar Show is coming up 1st and 2nd of March in Birmingham. You need to go on the website to check the exact place because it's changed. Dan will be there all weekend with Gig Rig, so you can go and bother him with questions and pound notes to buy things.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. Do you take cash?
Do you take cash?
Probably not.
Well, we don't. We got a little buzzy thing.
Yeah.
Get your phone out, zip it.
It's so hard to wash it these days as well, isn't it? And then that pedal show will be on the live stage last thing on Sunday, I think, where we're not entirely sure what we're going to do yet. There's no band, so don't worry about that. It'll just be me and Dan having schwang, talking crap as usual, maybe taking a question or two. But in loose terms, celebrating a little bit of volume, some real amps, because it's hard to hear them these days.
It is. It is.
Harder.
They are good.
Harder to hear them. Good evening, gents, says Carl Longbottom. The James Dean Bradfield episode was awesome. He's a true gent and a great player. Look forward to seeing you in Birmingham. Still
Thank
lots
you,
to
mate.
do. Cheers, Carl. Be great to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Andy King.
Andy King.
Hi, DNM. After watching Friday's show, I wondered if you would like to borrow a Berman 501 Pro. Recently fully serviced, so unlikely to catch fire. P.S. It's local. Why not, Andy? That would be great.
That would be brilliant, mate. Thank you. That's very kind.
We'll figure out a way to do that.
What
That
a
was-
killer amplifier that thing is.
It reminded me of the early boogies.
Yeah.
Just utterly fire-breathing cascaded gain
Yeah.
stages.
And that was like being punched in the back of the head when he kicked that thing in.
Well, it was right behind your head.
It was, right? But
To be
yeah.
fair. Our heads, should I say. Yeah, that would be great. They did a 502 as well. I was researching it when I was editing the video,
Oh, cool.
just to make sure I'd called it the right thing.
Right.
And they did a 212 as well, and a head. Because he said, didn't he, the one he actually used was a head. But they bought that one after the fact. Yes, Andy, that's great. Thank you.
Rod ESP has asked us a couple of times, it says, what gig rig product or any product recommended for high pitched noise in a DC power to pedals? So it's because you've got digital noise getting on there, something is squealing, something is oscillating. So you just need to isolate them. If you've got, so I'm betting you've got some sort of,
Digital.
some sort of stuff that's drawing lots of current, and you're getting earth loops between you in the supply. So you just need a really good isolated supply, and that will sort that out. Yes.
Chris Quinn says, is that Berman the Geordie from Killing Joke amp? Apparently so.
Oh, wicked.
James mentioned that.
Right, okay, great.
He did mention that in the show, yeah.
Backer says, on a side note, a big compliment for your interview, lads. You leave so much room for people to actually answer. Very well done. Thank you. It's not hard when you really want to hear the answer.
Well, also YouTube offers us the opportunity to run long videos.
That is true.
So in the day of TVs, TV shows and magazines where you've got limited pages, you have to edit. And, when you're dealing with an editor and a publisher who want to sell stuff, be that in print or on the TV, it all, like news, it just gets... What's actually happening is not what you see on the news. You see the biggest headline and the worst, the biggest thing that's going to bring you down the hardest, because that's what's going to get the eyeballs. So, sorry, I got a bit serious there, but I feel quite strongly about it. Whereas we're very lucky, we can just let them talk.
Yeah.
And then it's a case of responsibility of how much you chop and how much you keep.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we can just let them tell the story. And that's one thing that the internet allows that previous media did not.
Yeah. I don't know if it is now, but on the weekend, if you typed in Noel Gallagher into YouTube, ours was the third video.
Still going gangbusters, that
That's
video.
incredible.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
incredible. And Simon V says, I cannot confirm or deny that I will be at the Birmingham Guitar Show, nor can I confirm nor deny that I will be saying hello to you chaps. Look forward to seeing you, Simon. That'd be great, mate.
Nice. Andy says, how do I contact you to arrange the Berman? Just drop us an email at the store, Andy. The email address, which I can't remember off the top of my head, will be on the store. That'll go to Catherine. Catherine will give it to me, and I'll get in touch, if that's cool.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, mate.
And Backer says, you need to listen instead of want to hear yourself talking, and you do it magically. Thank you.
Yeah.
You do learn that as a young person doing interviews for the first time.
Yeah.
And there comes a point where you're transcribing it going, oh shit, I'm not listening to what he's saying.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about what my next question is going to be. And it comes as a bit of a slap in the face when you learn it.
I started doing it together, and Mick had a little stick for me, right in the ribs.
Jeremy Huffelman. Jeremy, how are you? Nice to hear from you, buddy. He says, evening chaps, loving your work. Sending big love from Abbey Road, as always. Hope you're doing okay, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
Simon VRDJ says, Mick, did you have to cut much of the interview? I'm curious, as I felt you had so much more stuff you could have put in last Friday's episode. If there is more, please release a special edition. No, didn't cut hardly anything, actually, because, as is the case with James, he will always build an arc to a story. So if you cut a bit out in the middle, some of the rest of it later on won't make sense.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, no, hardly anything got cut. There was one bit where the audio went down, and we had to cut around that, but that was it pretty much.
Yep.
The odd and R might get taken out here and there, or
Mainly from me.
whatever.
I go offline sometimes. Just go, hmm.
But yeah, not really. Not really. Good. Paul Matulovic.
G'day, mate.
Hello, Paul. Great to hear from you, buddy. He says, evening, lads. Since your guests all seem to be about chorus, what are some of your favourites these days? The VS Audio one is pretty excellent if you're checking out their stuff.
Yeah, cool. I'm just Red Wing all the way for me.
Full stop.
Yeah. It's answered all my questions with flange and modulation.
Yeah.
That sort of modulation. I just love it. The only other thing that I would say is that I still love the diamond vibrato and the wet dry thing that I do. And the new diamond vibrato is excellent. So it's a little bit brighter, which isn't a bad thing, but it's still got that amazing analog weird shifty thing, which it does, which is really cool.
So to clarify, Dan would not use a standard chorus pedal usually. He would use vibrato wet dry, which creates real genuine chorus.
Mm-hmm.
So that would explain that, if you'll excuse me. Chorus for me, I like for analog chorus, I like the Jam Waterfall.
Yeah, beautiful.
Just a great sounding C2 type. And the Analog Man bi-chorus is spectacular.
Yep.
After that, I like the TC SCF, which is a little, even though it's still analog, it's less overtly thick sounding than the Jam.
Yeah.
So we're now heading off into sort of 80s territory as far as I'm concerned. And then to complete that journey, the Boss Dimension C, which isn't chorus but is a chorusing effect of sorts, and the Free the Tone Tri-Avatar for that tri-chorus 80s thing.
Yeah.
But I've stopped. I'm on a massive rig simplification thing at the moment, and the only wobbly I now use pretty much is harmonic tremolo.
Nice.
So, yeah. But there's so many good things out there.
There's amazing things out there now.
So many good things out there. I think somebody reflected on this earlier in the comments that, and we've certainly talked about it, you know, pedal market is absolutely saturated with great choices now, where I think the way most people are making their choices now, and it's tough to say most people because it's a generalization, the way a lot of people are making choices is you find a brand that you trust and you go with them. Because you kind of like what they do, and Jam is that for me.
Yeah.
If I don't know, I'm going to go Jam pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
Many of you out there will go Boss for very good reason, for the same thing, but you might get hooked into whoever it might be depending on your budget, you know. But it is tough. There's so much good stuff.
Yeah.
But then you listen to the CE2, you listen to the Hughes and Kettner Tube Rotosphere, you listen to the Dodd 250, which we're going to be doing tomorrow, and you realise that there was something magic about those originals.
Yeah, there really is. Well, when we did the Blues Breaker show,
Yeah.
and I was like, they all sound great. And you
Yeah.
hear the original and go, huh, that's the one.
Yeah, actually not magic. Electronically unique is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And in some ways, whatever idiosyncrasies or problems they had that people try to iron out was really part of their DNA.
Completely.
About what made them
Yeah,
sound so good. Same as
completely.
vintage guitars.
Yep.
So when markets contract and times are tough, you buy what you know. Cadbury's chocolate's my favourite example. In
Right.
times of recession, sales of boutique chocolate go down. Might be because it's more expensive, but you buy what you know
Okay.
and you trust it. I'm
Okay.
not suggesting there's a recession or anything like that. Maybe there is, but market saturation. Sometimes you go, I can't deal with this. I'm just going to buy what I know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I had a thought then while that was all going on. What was it about? Can't remember. Oh, I know what it was. It was a total tangent about Dodd and DOD.
Right.
The original guy, whose name I've conveniently forgotten, I know his middle name was Orest.
Arrest.
Oreste, Oreste,
Right.
but Orest. And someone will tell me in the chat what his actual name was. This is the initials, DOD. He wanted it to be called Dodd,
Right.
but everyone else called it DOD.
As in Ken Dodd.
Different Dodd. He was a Diddy man. Or he had Diddy men. And feather dusters. Do you remember his feather dusters?
No.
God, that was weird.
I've never seen him, I've seen photos of him in that hat, the Feather of Truth.
Yeah. Oh, God. Just thinking about 1970s and 80s British light entertainment. I mean, I'm sure it was bad everywhere, but thank God for Monty Python is all I'm saying. Anyway, we'll remember the guy's name in a minute. Daniel Mincher. Hello, Daniel. Daniel says, hey boys, love the show. I got myself booked in to build my own amp with Vise, which apparently is not too far from you. How did you find building your amps, and do you still have or use them? Love the TPS gang.
Thank
Love
you.
to you, buddy.
It was a really fun experience. We don't use them because we made them, and because we made them, they weren't great. But I mean, the amps themselves are great. It's a wonderful experience. Really, really fun, and you get to learn a lot. That's just, one of the great things about those sorts of projects. You learn so much. Yeah, but we don't use them because we've got so many amazing amps here.
Dan traded his with Simon for something. Or
Oh,
we
I
traded.
did.
They were. I say they were his and mine. The one that he built, we traded with Simon, our producer and video guy, for something, probably in lieu of payment, I would imagine. And the other one is out there. Unless it's it's in the other building. Because it started making a noise, and we've just said we'll get into it and repair it and make it work again, but haven't done. But the process was excellent. The results, I think, Dan's worked great, which is why Simon took it. Mine just didn't, because obviously I did a bad job. So.
Well, it could be anything.
Yeah. I'm not beating myself up, but
Yeah.
I am saying I do know people who make.
That's the
amps.
problem. We know the best amp makers in the world
Yeah.
and have them surrounded by them. It's like, yeah.
It's great though. It's a lovely thing. What's great about doing those sorts of things is that you can just immerse yourself in it.
Yeah,
You can
which
just
is
turn the rest of
brilliant.
your life off. Please turn the rest of your life off if you can when you do something like that. Get rid of your phone and just immerse yourself in it. It's so rare that we're able to do that in these times. Just completely be in that.
Yeah.
So
Lee Weatherall says, I worked with Ken Dodd many times, and during his gigs, he never swore once.
really
That's amazing. That's
amazing.
great.
We
He
say
gets off stage.
yeah. We say thank you to 40 Watt Podcast, who tells us it is David Orest Di Francesco.
Oh, cool.
DOD. I learnt that from the Josh Scott JHS Pedals History of the DOD 250
Right.
video, which I was watching partly.
I learnt that Francesco is fun to say by Elf. Francesco, that's fun to say. That's Elf.
Is that the film Elf
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm laughing. What he's talking about. I think I watched it.
Ah, best Christmas film of all time.
Good. Right. How are we doing?
A. Back to A.
Plexico. Duncan, normally first in, last in today. He said, I'm so late today. Just sending TPS hi to all. Thanks, buddy. Hi to you. Good to hear from you. I'll just check that we are done with the super chai, and then we'll have a little time in the main comments. Yeah, thank you to everyone who super chatted. Hopefully we answered you adequately.
Yeah.
Mark T. Oh no, that's not for us. He says Daniel says I'm planning to Daniel Mincher spending 2 whole days geeking out.
Yeah, amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I've always said I'd never want to do the guitar thing, but I kind of think I do now.
Well,
you know,
build a
like
guitar?
Crimson Guitars, for example,
Yeah, that's
who
cool.
aren't far from here, or at least
Yes, Johnny T. The 5E3 was Rift amps. Yes.
yeah, Rift. Sorry, we should have
Really
mentioned
cool.
that.
Yes. CG Carreno says JHS just dropped 3 new 3 series delays. So pedals. A rotary chorus, a tape delay, and an oil can delay.
Oil
Nice.
can's interesting.
Todd Roy, very nice.
Wisconsin Mike, Wisconsin Mike says, I'm watching late, so this may be too late to be helpful, but regarding the question earlier about a unit flipping phase, apparently Saturn Effects makes a small box phase inverter, easy peasy. So you just put it in line with whatever you're...
But here's the issue with that. If you got a small thing that just flips a phase, that's great. The problem is, if you turn the pedal on and put that in line, it flips a phase. When you turn the pedal off, it goes back to being out of phase.
Yeah, you have
So
to be in a
it
true
would need to
bypass
be
loop.
in a loop, some sort of loop. Here's the problem, and I've thought this a number of times. I could really easily make a single loop QMX with a phase flip button in it, and we'd sell 4 of them. And they'd be to all of you people that have commented here. Because it's... Yeah, I might do it anyway. Just to say there's an answer. I think.
Doe Biog says, any predictions on what the new Meris release might be tomorrow? You probably know what it is, do you?
The Meris release?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do not know.
What do we think it is then? Come on, let's speculate. So what have their last main releases been?
The big delay and reverb. The LVX.
Yeah.
The... okay.
Is it that, but for modulation, then, do we think?
But that would be a fairly safe bet. Yeah, I don't know. It could be a web editor. I do not know. They've probably already got that.
Nick Harrington says, any 10-year anniversary merch coming our way? Yes, there is. Nick, we've got a whole bunch of stuff that we're supposed to be doing for the 10th anniversary that will be, pardon me, some will be event-based, some will be merch-based, some will be video-based. We talked about it long and hard. We were going to have a party, but then there's only a very finite number of people can come to that. So we're going to do a bunch of stuff so that wherever you are in the world, there'll be some sort of celebration of the 10 years. And, you know, a bit of crying into a bucket as well.
That's the way Mick likes to celebrate all the big events in his life. It's like a bucket, some Kleenex, and just some, you know, he has a movie fest, Sophie's Choice, Free Willy,
Sandro,
An Officer and a Gentleman, all the big tearjerkers.
oh, that's a great film. I can't deal with those flipping handlebars he's got on his Bonnie, though. If it even is a Bonnie, might be a Trident. Anyway. Sandro says, hope you guys can help me, Daniel. I have the same guitar like Dan, but my SG is not stable in tune. The vibrola is not so nice for the tune, but I like the look. Is yours stable?
It is. If you touch it. So, we did mention that this sideways vibrola. So, I'll just quickly bring this up to the camera so that you can all see. This is the system that in 1961-62, or might be specific for the 62 actually, they thought would be clever. The vibrola folds out and goes up and down like this, instead of like this. So, here's what that looks like. And it's terrible for tuning because I can push it up, stays sharp, or
You've just done an Ennio Morricone soundtrack.
Oh, it's just awful. So, when I bought this guitar, it had the Mojo Tone block thing on it that basically blocked this section off. And it was cool, but I did an experiment and I put the original thing back on and I prefer the sound of it. Surprise, surprise. Nick's like, are you really surprised about that? And so anyway, prefer the sound of it like this, but I just don't use it. I try and set it and just don't touch it, because as soon as you touch it, it's a nightmare. I don't have any suggestions on how to keep it in tune. Don't touch it. That's what my mum said. Just leave it alone.
Todd Roy says Gibson took a swing and they missed. God bless them. Yeah,
Strike 3, baby.
yeah. It's we say this a lot, right? We say this a lot. It's not hard to write a list of really daft things that Gibson has done. But let's contrast that list with the ES-150, the ES-175, the Gibson Les Paul, the SG, the Flying V, the Explorer, etc., etc., etc. And, along with Fender being the backbone of most rock and roll. So they were just pushing, weren't they? The times were to push and to be different and to do something marketable. And that's what they were doing. 1958, man. We talk about it a lot, but 1958... McCarthy says, yeah, check this out. I'm paraphrasing. Les brought us that log thing ages ago, but we didn't like it. So so what we'll do is we'll make a guitar that kind of works for these idiot rock guitarists, even though rock hasn't really been invented yet, who want sustain and volume, but we'll just, make it hollow top and bottom so the proper guitar players still like it. And it's, well, I don't know, maybe apart from the Telecaster, the best guitar that's ever been made and designed. And serious players really liked it in 58.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they said, hey, what about the Flying V?
And
meanwhile, in the crack pipe room...
But today, we could be sitting down talking about the Flying V, going, oh yeah, and someone thought it'd be really funny to put F-holes on this.
Yeah.
It's like, they didn't know. Either one of them could have gone.
So they were pushing. They were pushing.
They really were.
Don't worry. It's just a scratch.
Alex241 says, is that an original 62 SG? I thought it was a custom shop. No, mate, this is an original one. Yeah.
It's the real potato right there.
Yeah. It's all original except for that pickup, which is a T-top. But it sounds magic. And that tuner. But apart from that...
Stephen Parker says that's a very loose paraphrase. Oh. Who needs detail when you can just make stuff up, eh? It's probably litigationalizing as well.
Yeah.
But anyway. There was a question here. What kind of speaker is in your Fender Deluxe Reverb? The standard one, Proton 45. I know people get very chewy about it, but our Deluxe just sounds good.
Sounds great.
It gets hammered a lot, and it just sounds... We know how it sounds.
Yeah. We had Robin in last week, and he plugged into it and goes, that sounds great.
Yeah. Even Robin Ford liked it.
Yeah, so there you go. That's silly, actually. The
Yeah.
more I think about some of the stuff that we just bring up in conversation, every now and then I've got to go, hang on, just stop a second. Hang on. Brian asks, is that an ebony fretboard, Dan? No. So this one is not ebony.
That's Brazilian
It's
rosewood.
Brazilian rosewood. It was the 3 pickup custom
3 pickup.
custom 3 pickup. They had the white ones. They had an ebony fretboard. Dave Gregory's got one of those, and yeah, amazing guitar.
Happy Hockey, by the way, I wasn't deriding the Flying V for not being a great guitar. I was just saying it was mental
For the time,
but which is why they discontinued
yeah,
it.
remember what happened? There's a space race.
Yeah,
and-
they're don't get me wrong, they're fantastic, and they've been
Yeah.
used by many of genre-changing musicians. No, we love them, but it was utterly bonkers in 1958.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right. Marcus Reeves is on. Marcus, thank you for your
Hello,
count.
Marcus.
I phoned Marcus earlier. We're going to do MXR Distortion Plus and Dodd 250 Overdrive preamp tomorrow, just for a bit of something different. Dan and I've never really been into either, so we're going to explore them.
Yeah.
And thank you, Marcus. I phoned Marcus to get some counsel on the circuit and a bit of history. So thank you, Marcus. Always appreciate it, buddy. Good. Okay, everyone. We'll see you this Friday. Probably won't be Corey Wong this Friday. It may well be the aforementioned Overdrive show, or maybe even one on pseudo 12-string sounds. Dan's got a theory that he can do a better job of a 12-string simulator than you can get in a commercially available.
It's not a
pedal.
theory. It's just
It's the truth.
well, it's something I want to try, because I think, yeah, there's a thing that makes them very, very hard to do, but there is one trick that I want to try. We'll see if it
Cool.
works.
We'll give it a go.
Yeah.
We'll give it a go. Okay, everyone. Thanks for being with us. We've got to go and see a man about a MXR Distortion Plus. I bought one on Reverb today, an 80s one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Big
So-
box, small box.
80s, they were all small box.
Okay.
Yeah, they were only big box early 70s before the one we know came out.
Right. Because that's the one that Randy Rhoads used.
The big box one.
Big box one.
Is it? And apparently,
Well, he may use both, but the pictures I've seen of his board is the big box one.
by all accounts, talking about the circuit is a bit like talking about fuzz faces,
Okay.
because they're just whatever they had.
Yeah.
So it's not a definitive history of the OD250. For that, you can go and watch one of Josh Scott's video. It's more, let's plug it into that, turn it up and see what happens, which is what surprisingly few channels are doing anymore. So we'll do that, because I've done the mod.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. I cannot wait to hear
It
it.
sounds so much better. Good. Everyone, thank you so much for being with us. Daniel, you know your job. I have to get some more percussion instruments. I have a really good one here somewhere.
Hey. Best ending ever.
Easily the best ending. I was struggling with the key. I think it's the reed.
It's the reed.